I've been dealing with this nagging neck pain for months now, and I only recently realized it was probably from spending 8+ hours a day editing videos and testing cameras at my desk. Now, the irony is not lost on me. I am constantly reviewing ergonomic camera grips and comfortable straps, but I'd completely ignored my actual workspace. So when Vernal reached out about sponsoring a desk upgrade, I decided to finally fix my setup properly. And honestly, there was one $50 accessory that made the most difference, a bigger difference than I expected. So in this video, I'll show you my complete desk filming setup and give you some tips for setting up an ergonomic workstation, including that surprising game-changing accessory that I think most of you should seriously consider. So let's start with the foundation, the desk itself. It's an electric standing desk by Vernal, and while I've had many standing desks before, this one feels noticeably more premium, even though it's quite affordable at just $430 for my specific configuration. So the first thing you'll notice is the width. I went for the smallest length at 48 inches, but what makes this different from my previous desks is the depth. It's 30 inches instead of the usual 24. And for someone who films B-roll and product shots directly on the desk surface, the extra 6 inches is pretty big. I no longer have to constantly shove things aside to get a clean filming space. Now, I chose the white laminate surface to match my space, but Vernal also offers bamboo and solid wood options. The steel frame is seriously robust, with a 355 payload capacity. I actually sat on it to test it, and while I am not anywhere close to the 355-pound payload, it did really well. Height adjustment is controlled by a keypad that remembers up to 3 custom settings, and the desk ranges from 25 to 48.6 inches tall. This adjustability is really crucial for your ergonomics. You ideally want your arms to be parallel to your keyboard and your mouse, which almost never happens with a fixed height desk. Plus, being able to stand and work really helps me to stretch out during long editing sessions, and it actually jogs my creativity to be able to change my position. But what really sets this apart from old desks is the thoughtful built-in features. There's a cable management basket underneath that's actually large enough to hold my massive surge protector, and about 10 different cables. And it's way more discreet than the third-party option than I was using before. There are also built-in hooks on the side for managing headphones or camera bags, and again, much better than the third-party clamps that I used to attach to the side of my desk. But the height-adjustable desk is the first piece of the ergonomic puzzle. The next part is just as important, getting your monitor at eye level. So once your keyboard and your mouse are positioned correctly, your monitor is almost always too low, especially if you're working off of a laptop. This creates that hunched over position that leads to neck strain and upper back strain. So one of the easiest ways to fix that is to raise your screen. I went with Vernal's monitor arm to do this. I was using an old arm that I found from Amazon, but I found that it was already loosening at the hinges after less than a year of use. So I definitely needed an upgrade. So I'm mounting my 27-inch LG monitor, and this is actually an old one. I bought it back in 2018, but it's a 4K display, and it served me incredibly well. It's just over 12 pounds, so it's well within the arm's 19-pound capacity. So one thing I really like about this monitor arm is that you can attach it to your desk without making any damage. You have the option to do that if you want to. Like, you can have a screw that goes through the desk, but they also give you the option to use this clamp. And I like to use these clamps because they don't leave any marks and they are surprisingly strong. I've used other ones in the past and they work really well. Now, once installed, the articulating arm lets me move the monitor for optimal viewing angles. And I can also swing it completely out of the way if I ever need a full desk surface for filming B-roll. For the monitor itself, I have 2 accessories. A USB-C powered monitor light that works as my desk lamp in low light conditions. I love the adjustable brightness and also the color temperature, and also the fact that it attaches to my monitor, so it's not taking up additional desk space. And in the corner, I've mounted my eMeet Pico Plus 4K webcam for video calls or meetings. Now, for storing items on my desk, I added Vernal's 47-inch desk shelf. I went with the longer version because it spans almost the entire length of my desk, giving me tons of surface area, although honestly I'm keeping things pretty minimal at the moment. The main thing living up here is my 2023 14-inch MacBook Pro, which has been fantastic for editing 4K and 8K footage. I've been experimenting with placements. For the longest time, I was using this wooden laptop holder by Human Centric, which I love for its simplicity. But I recently discovered that the desk shelf has this little drawer that's almost perfectly sized for the laptop. So I'm testing that out currently. When the laptop is connected to the monitor, everything runs through this CalDigit dock. This thing is expensive, but it's been a game changer for me. It's not the MVP accessory that I'm going to talk about later, but honestly, it's pretty up there in terms of how it's changed things for me. So instead of plugging in and unplugging 6 or 7 cables every time I want to take my laptop somewhere, everything now connects to one dock. So my mouse, my keyboard, my monitor, my headphones, my external drives, all of those I mount via cables. And now I have just one cable that I plug into the laptop and unplug anytime I want to take it out. When it is plugged in, it even charges my laptop. So again, it's not the MVP that I mentioned earlier, but in my book, it's pretty darn close. Now, by the way, if you don't have budget or space for an external monitor, a laptop riser like this neck stand is a great alternative. I use this for years, and honestly, I still travel with it. And it's a way cheaper option than the popular Roost stand. It's $18 versus $90. And it still gets your laptop screen up to eye level. Now, you will need a separate keyboard and mouse, but it makes such a big difference for laptop ergonomics, especially when you're on the go. Also on my desk shelf is this MagSafe charging dock by OtterBox. It is really simple. It just charges my phone while displaying it like a desk clock, so I can keep track of notifications. All it needs is USB-C power, and while I do wish the angle was a little adjustable, it does exactly what I need, and it looks really nice on the desk. Finally, I have this extra large desk mat in apricot. One side is faux leather and the other side is cork. And it protects my desk surface while also adding a nice color contrast to break up all the white. Alright, now let me show you my filming setup, because if you create content, you're going to appreciate how minimal this is. For my main camera, I use a Sony a7 IV with a 20mm f1.8 prime lens and a Polar Pro V&D filter on bright days. The camera sits on a platypod tripod, which is one of my favorite pieces because it's all metal, so it's incredibly sturdy, but the base is also much smaller than a traditional 3-leg tripod. For audio, I'm using the Rode VideoMic Go 2 on a Rode swivel arm, which lets me position the mic close to my mouth. The mic connects to both cameras and computers, so I also use it for recording voiceovers directly to my laptop. In case you're wondering, this thing up front is a teleprompter. I try not to use teleprompters, but honestly, sometimes it just makes the whole process a lot faster. Because I have very limited time to film, I have to do it when my kids aren't here, which is not very often. But the teleprompter is by Padcaster, but it's great because it lets you attach your phone. So right now I am filming on my phone, so I can't show you exactly how it goes into place. But basically, the phone clamps up front, and then it reflects the words back to you on the screen. And so that way, you're reading off of the teleprompter, or in my case, notes. I try not to put the full script there. And seeing it reflected back on the screen itself. So you're making eye contact with the camera lens. For lighting and for B-roll, I have this LumeCube ring light, which I'm currently using right now, but I also use it when I'm filming at the desk. But it's a really great key light when needed, but I also use the same rig to shoot overhead B-roll. I just attach my MagSafe phone mount to the center of the ring light, stick my phone on, angle it down, and then shoot directly onto my desk surface. I've been using this 2-camera setup for a couple of months now, and I honestly love how minimal it is, while still delivering high-quality results. Now, before I reveal the MVP accessory, there are 2 more items worth mentioning. My chair and my storage cabinet, both are from Vernal. The chair has been a huge upgrade from my old one. It has a headrest, a full back and lumbar support, and tons of adjustability. And I also like the mesh back panel because it's breathable, which really helps out during those long editing sessions. Next to my desk is Vernal's side cabinet in a light walnut. And I went with a tall version with drawers to maximize storage. The fit is honestly pretty tight in my office, but turns out everything works perfectly. I've been needing proper storage for years, and until now I was using these boring file cabinets. I still have one, but at least was able to get rid of one of the other ones. And I really like how clean and modern this looks. It has a 3-drawer system that's great for storing camera gear, and since they're not transparent, I can be as messy as I want on the inside. But here's the real MVP that made the biggest difference in my entire desk setup: a $50 pull-out keyboard tray. For me, this works so much better for positioning my keyboard and my mouse to be parallel with my arms, rather than keeping them on the desk surface. When everything's positioned here, it sits at about lap level, and I feel like I can type and work for much longer without discomfort. And when I'm not using it or I need a completely clear desk, I just slide the tray back in. There's no more fumbling around putting the keyboard and the mouse away. So the one that I'm using is from Stand Up Desk Store, and like many of my accessories, it attaches with clamps, so there's no permanent modification to the desk. And while I'm down here, I have to mention one other MVP: my Logitech trackball mouse. I prefer this so much more to a traditional mouse or the Apple trackpad. It takes some getting used to, but once you adapt to it, it's really hard to go back to anything else. So that's my complete desk setup. Between the height adjustable desk, the monitor arm getting my screen to eye level, and especially my keyboard tray, my neck pain has significantly improved just in the last couple weeks that I've been using this setup. So if you're dealing with similar issues, I would honestly start with the keyboard tray. It's the most affordable fix, and for me, it's made the biggest immediate impact. But you guys let me know what you think in the comments down below. Share any other desk tips that you have in terms of getting an ergonomic, clean, minimalist setup. I would love to hear what kind of accessories or modifications you've made to your desk, because I'm always looking to change up my setup. But thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.